Hi, in this video we are going to learn how to edit exposure using a levels adjustment layer. I chose this image because the exposure is off. I'm gonna click this off. We'll see that the people here are backlit so that their faces actually come out a little bit too dark. So we're gonna use Photoshop to adjust their exposure. This picture has not been edited in Lightroom. We're going to do the exposure editing in Photoshop. So the first thing you do is you select a picture that needs to be edited. You're going to right click, edit in Photoshop. We're going to edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. Now I have not made Lightroom adjustments, but it will save better and it will update in Lightroom better when you click edit a copy with Lightroom adjustments. So when you're starting to edit an image, this is the one you're going to select. Go ahead and hit edit and it'll launch the program for us. So here is our picture. If you want to make it full fit screen, or you're going to do a Command 0, or you can hit the button up here, fit screen. That would be in the zoom tool. Next, what you're going to do is take a look at our workspace. I like to work in photography workspace. We can reset the workspace. So when you first go to the photography workspace, it'll look like this. We're going to be using the adjustment layers, which are right here. When you hover over them, it'll give you the name of the adjustment. And then we're also going to be using the properties panel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to expand this panel and then Command 0 to fit the screen. And we're going to bring up history as well so we can see all the changes we've made. So if we make a mistake, we can go back. What we're going to do is to adjust the exposure on these people, we're going to go ahead and select the levels adjustment layer. So you go ahead and just click on it and nothing changes right off the bat. What we're going to see here is properties change, and we're going to do some tweaks to the properties. So when we look at the histogram here, which is the same up here, you're going to see a gap in the shadow area. So the left-hand side of the histogram is representing the values in the shadows. You'll see it's very heavy in the shadows because a lot of these people are wearing black and they're also shaded. But what you'll see is because there's a gap, there's no pure black in this picture. Now it looks black, our brain's reading it as black, but the histogram's telling us that there is not a black. So what we're going to do is we're going to just move the histogram, move the slider over so it starts right where the values start, and that's going to realign our picture and actually make it a little bit darker, but it's going to make the blacks pure black. Next, what we're going to do is take a look at the highlights. The highlights are spiking, meaning that this area in the back is blown out. There's not much right now that we can do about that, especially since this picture was shot in JPEG, but we can adjust the middle tones. So what we'll see is there's not a lot of information over here, but if we bring the slider down, it's going to actually lighten our middle tones and brighten their skin. So that's what we're trying to do here, is brighten them so they look properly exposed. What we're going to do next is we can check a before and after. So you'll see that your histogram has changed when I turn it off. It goes back, so everything's darker, everything's bunched up into the darker values on our histogram. Then when we turn it back on, everything brightens up. And there's a lot more values in the rest of the histogram, which is indicating that our picture has been lightened. And that is it. Last but not least, you're going to do File and Save. You're going to watch the progress. It's saved. Now when you, I'm going to Command Tab and go back to Lightroom. Now we have our updated version where our histogram looks much better distributed versus this one. So it's a much better exposure when you're looking at the picture. And that is it. That is Levels Adjustment Layer.